What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Street Parking Podcast. I am here today with another one of our members who is joining us for one of the final vault workouts of this year, Peter Kim. You might recognize Peter Kim as a world-renowned TikTok dancer with his wife, Tina. But Peter is also a part-time pharmacist, a pastor, a father of 3, and a student. Yep. So it's got a lot going on. And has been a Street Parking member for 2.5 years now. So super pumped to have you here.
Yeah, thanks
you
so much
have
for
not yet done your workout
Not
as
yet.
of the time of this recording. Mm-hmm. So still TBD on that.
Yep.
Are you excited for it?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
I'll give a little bit of like an Easter egg for it. So when you read it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so long.
Yeah, it's a long one for sure.
So people can look forward to finding out what that's all about.
Yep.
I love your workout. I'm super pumped for it. I wish I was the one doing it with you, but mine was also very long. I got to do mine earlier this morning.
Yep.
All right. So, let's just dive into it. There's a lot to talk about. I think you're very recognizable in the community, especially if people are active on Instagram. Yep. I repost you guys in my story. Mm-hmm. We repost you all the time. There's lots of dancing that happens.
Yep.
So maybe we should ask about that first. Yeah. Were you guys choreographed dancers before street parking, or is this part of your street parking journey?
So we have 0 professional dancing. If you watch us, we're just kind of goofy and silly and we just kind of do our own thing. But yeah, we don't have any kind of like professional background at all. And I'm sure the professional dancers are looking at us and they're like, oh, they're like novice or they're kind of rookie. But we just kind of dance. If you've never seen them before, what's your Instagram handle? Pina Fit SP.
Pina Fit SP. Yep. Pause the podcast if you've never seen it and go check it out. If you've seen some of the stuff, because we'll repost them a lot. It's the couple where it looks like, are you guys in your basement?
Yeah, we're in our basement.
In Maryland, and they have oftentimes their hoodies like pulled all the way tight.
Yep.
And they're dancing. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. And then come back. So do you have like a set schedule for this? How many times a week are you guys dancing? I'm more interested in the dancing than the fitness right now.
Yeah. We go about maybe once a month now.
Okay.
I think in the beginning when we first were starting, we're like, oh, let's do this more often. Let's do it like once a week, maybe twice a week. But then that wasn't really sustainable for us.
Where do you find the dances, or do you make them up?
Tina is the one that does most of the research. But she just
on
finds,
TikTok.
Yeah, like TikTok dances, Instagram reels, whatever it is, any kind of viral trend. We're like, oh, like let's hop on that. We'll either just put on our hoodies, put it on super tight with the drawstring.
Do you ever get mad at each other? Like, does anyone ever get frustrated with it? Who's a better dancer?
I would say Tina's the better dancer. But then I like to also be really technical. Oh. So I try to practice it almost to a point where it's like perfection. Uh-huh. And then so I'll get frustrated if she won't do it.
You guys need a reality
show. We'll be off, or like she'll get mad at me when I do something that she's like, no, the move isn't that. It's like supposed to be this way. So there's a lot of that. But at the end of the day, we just try to have fun with it. Okay.
So again, were you doing this at all before street parking, or did this come up from the street parking stuff?
Yeah, no. So we started it first during the pandemic.
Okay.
Our son had just been born, and then the shutdown happened, mm-hmm. and we were just trying to find some things to do. I think we watched all the Marvel movies, straight through. We never really got into the bread baking,
we went into that phase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're just trying to find some fun things to do while we were just stuck at home. And Tina was like, hey, let's try this, these TikTok dances. And then we're just showing our friends and family that hey, we're doing okay. Maybe this will bring a smile to your face.
Yeah.
So we did a few of those during the pandemic. This was, I think, 2020.
Yes.
And then in 2021, during the 30 Days of Fitness, one of the challenges was to do a hashtag SP dance party.
Right.
So we're like, oh, let's do one of the dances that we had previously done. And that was the very first one. It was, I think, the Fergalicious dance. Uh-huh. And that one, people were already wearing their hoodies with the drawstring kind of tight. So we're like, okay, we'll just do that with our SP hoodies. And then it just kind of went from there. We're like, okay, we did it with our SP hoodies kind of tight like that. Every dance from here on out, we just need to keep doing that.
People love it.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. So Tina actually joined street parking first.
Yes.
In August.
Yep.
And then what happened? So you guys were in a state where everything was definitely shut down. How long? Was everything shut down for there?
At that point, I mean, I don't even remember how long it was shut down for, but it was basically, our son was born the week after that, everything was shut down. So Tina had already known about street parking previously, and she wanted to go into it being postpartum. So she was doing a little bit of research in 2019 into 2020. So I think she decided to get the membership in like June of 2020, or maybe it was August of 2020.
Okay.
And then she was doing her workouts, and I was like, okay, like I'll just do whatever you're doing. I'll just kind of piggyback.
Because the gym was still closed. You guys were both members of a CrossFit gym before.
We were both members of a CrossFit gym before, and then gyms were completely closed. I think they were going to start bringing people back in like 2021, but by that point, it was kind of late. So 2020, we had accumulated a little bit of equipment. So Tina was like, I'm going to start street parking. You can try it with me if you want to. And I was like, okay, sure. I'll just piggyback off of what you're doing. And then, from there, I was like, seeing her do her workouts. She was like, oh, there's this thing after 75 workouts, you get a free hoodie. So she got the free hoodie, and I was like, wait a second, I want one of those. You've been doing a bunch of the workouts. I was doing the workouts, and I didn't get the free hoodie. And I was like, okay, well, then I need to sign up. So it was around like November of 2020. I was like, I need to sign up. Did
you go back and log workouts, or did you just start fresh?
I started from there. I was like, I can't try to like cheat the system. I was like, I'm gonna be honest about this. So that was starting from there as like day one. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep. What was the biggest hurt? So you guys are in your basement. Have you always been in your basement?
Yeah, for the most part.
Do you have a garage?
No, so we're in a townhouse.
Okay.
So so that's why most of the stuff is in the basement, because that's just the space that we have. But
you're pretty tall though. Does everything work out down there?
Yeah. So there were a couple times that I've scuffed the ceiling with the dumbbells.
Can you do you guys have barbells?
We do have barbells. I can do a snatch, but I can't.
Yeah, if the plates are on there with the press. Yeah.
But then with a press or like a jerk, I can't do that.
Can she do it?
Yeah, she can do it.
Okay.
So there are times like I do box jumps, and then one time I hit my head on the ceiling too.
Gosh.
It was very light because it was just right at the top. But so now I've gone ways around. So I'll be like just kind of spreading my legs a little bit, just so that it lowers the height a little bit.
You need you know how people have in their garages the little tennis ball that hangs down?
Yeah. Something to give me a little like gauge of where I am. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But so the reason why I started street parking, or the reason why I started so late, was because I had hoped that the CrossFit gyms were going to open up again. Mm-hmm. And that was something that I really missed. And I was like, oh, just being with other people. Tina and I are both extroverts, so we thrive on being around other people.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, if Tina's going to be doing street parking at home, I'll just wait until the gyms open up, and then I'll go do a membership back into the gym. But it was just like month after month after month. There was nothing about the gyms are going to open up. Ugh. And even then, we have young kids. We didn't want, just for our sake, we didn't want to be exposed to anything. We wanted to keep them safe. So we were just thinking, okay, maybe we'll just end up working out at home. And so that was kind of the biggest thing for me. I wanted to be around more people because I really liked that environment. It was tough to get into just working out by ourselves at home.
Yeah, I think that's a very common, we see it all the time where people are like, there's no way. Even Molly, has admitted that there's no way I could be able to work out by myself. Mm-hmm. Like there's no way. And how did you, a lot of people during that period of time, overcame it just because they had no other choice.
Right.
But now if somebody was saying that to you and they do have a choice, aside from saying of course, do what works for you. Mm-hmm. How would you advise somebody to overcome that, or to test that, or to think about it differently?
Yeah, definitely. I would say to definitely lean into the street parking community. Mm-hmm. I think that's a really big resource that you guys have provided for us. Just to have a bunch of people that are on Instagram or Facebook, whoever, to cheer you on, to encourage you. And then for us, even our friends were Zooming with us in the beginning to do workouts with us. We would do the vault workout every Saturday with a bunch of different friends. And then just having those people on a Zoom call, being able to work out together, was really fun. And then I have a friend who, even before doing the street parking membership, he was considering doing some kind of workout routine. And then so we were doing endurance with him for I feel like about a year and a half.
Wow, you would like Zoom each other or FaceTime or whatever for an endurance.
Yep.
Oh man, that's brutal.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
That would actually be really helpful though, because those are mentally really challenging.
Yeah, those ones are definitely a lot longer than the daily
Yeah, even
workouts.
just to know that somebody's just in the room, you know, like quote unquote, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people too, because you have your kids are the same age as ours, 5, 3, and 1.
Yeah.
When did your 1-year-old? When's?
She's November 2021. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So she's younger. No, she's older. She's older than Crew. Okay. And your 3-year-old, when was he born?
March
What month?
2020.
Okay. So similar. So ours is Banner's about to turn 3 here in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, very similar ages. And one of the things that we say about street parking all the time is it's not just, you don't have to choose the gym or street parking. And one of the reasons that we've wanted to always keep the price point really low is so that it's like, hey, use it for when you need it and go to your gym and have your community on when you can, you know, but when you have a busy life, especially when you have 3 little ones, sometimes it just doesn't work out. I mean, many times it's just what you had planned for your day just goes out the window.
Yeah.
And so you guys actually train in the evening, like nighttime, which is rare for the podcasts that we've done. I don't know if you've listened to any of the other ones, but the 4 a.m. crew is like, and I totally get it. And I understand it mentally. I haven't been able to take myself or go there. Because if you wake up at 4, like whatever is going to stop you, there's nothing that's going to all of a sudden get in the way of your schedule if you do that. But you guys kind of flip it and you're like, well, we just wait till the kids go to bed. Why do you choose that as opposed to waking up early?
More for convenience, I think. Yeah. I mean, kudos to the morning people. Like we just can't do it.
Have you ever tried?
Well, it's funny. So before we got married, when we were going to our separate CrossFit gyms, we were going to the morning classes.
Like the 6 a.m. or 5? Like how early?
5:30, 6:30.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then once we got married, we were like, nah, we're not going back to the morning. It's just, we feel more energy in the evening. And it might just be because we're working out in the evening that we're tired in the morning. Like we haven't really tried doing morning, but for us, it just works out. It's like, all right, let's put them to bed. And then we know that they're going to be sleeping or I guess playing, but just by themselves. And then that's the time for us to be able to work out.
Okay. So you've pretty much done that the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much the whole time.
And they just know that you're in the basement. I'm sure they creep down there plenty of times.
Yeah, sometimes they do. Sometimes, for the most part, they're pretty good. Our youngest one, she's going through a leap. So I think it was literally like a few days ago. She would just start crying like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
Yes.
And so sometimes we'll just have to grab her and, just work out with her, or she just has to be in the room with us. And, we're okay with that.
Yeah.
So
for those of you that don't know what a leap is, I do, because I have like the app and everything on my phone. It's they've recognized or studied or whatever that pretty much all babies through the first like 2 years or something like that have these downloads at pretty predictable times. And so
it's like a developmental leap. But then something about their personality or like their sleep schedule, something like goes awry, it feels like. So
they get needy and they have a hard time sleeping and they're more emotional and stuff usually when they're going through this phase. So it's always really fun when you can see one coming on the app. If you have one, you're like, no, she's going to be in a leap.
Clouds.
I have the same thing that you do. That's so funny. Okay. So, but how, cause I feel like we used to do that when we had just Knox, we would work out in the nighttime when he would go to bed a lot of times, like 9 o'clock at night. I can't imagine doing that now because I'm so tired by the time we finally get them to sleep. Are you guys that way? How do you rally yourself? I mean, not that I wouldn't be tired at 4 a.m. being when you're a parent and you're working, and even if one or the other, like it's those times a day are hard. How do you guys get yourselves going?
Yeah,
besides the TikTok dances, I guess.
I think just having like a support system, like Tina and I both, we kind of ask each other, hey, are you working out tonight? Or what is the workout that you're going to do tonight, to kind of force each other to really go past the tiredness to be consistent. Because there are days when, you put them down and you're like, this was a rough day. I just need to lay down. And sometimes we'll lay down for like 30 minutes and be like, okay, and then just get back up.
It just takes one person to be like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Right? That is the nice thing. I know that you mentioned that in the email exchange before you came out, was that you feel very lucky to have Tina because you guys lean on each other for that accountability. Yeah.
I know that Tina's always going to be a support system for me, someone that'll always be in my corner. So like whatever goals or whatever that I'm trying to do, I know that she's going to push me obviously in the right way.
When you guys got together, it sounds like before you were even married, you were both active and trying to be fit and stuff like that. Yeah. Were you both that way when you met?
Not really.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit, because we met, I think, in 2014.
Okay.
And then it was going into 2015 that we both started doing CrossFit.
How did you, whose idea was it? How did that happen?
So this was actually, so the way that I got into CrossFit was through my cousin's friend. He owned a gym.
Okay.
So he reached out to me saying, hey, you want to try out this thing called CrossFit? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll try it. And so I was doing it for a couple weeks, and then I was like hooked. I was like, this is really great. I'm going to keep doing this. And then I told Tina about it, and I was like, hey, like you should try this too, because it's a really great like kind of fitness challenge. Like, you know, you do all these different movements, and then I feel really good, and I'm like losing weight. We gained a lot of weight during dating. So we're like, this is a good way to, I think, healthy way to start to lose some of that weight. So
what were you both doing before that?
Not much. I don't even remember if I was playing maybe basketball a couple times a week.
Okay.
And then I don't even remember if Tina was really doing anything, to be honest. Yeah, we
nice.
weren't really.
You guys kind of came into it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I mean, I just, you know, I know a lot of our members are not as fortunate as you and I are, where their spouse is, sometimes it's just that their spouse isn't interested. And then other times, I mean, you've probably seen it on Facebook where they're just straight up not supportive.
Right.
And that's tough. I know that, you know, you had some advice for leaning into the community. Like if it's not your spouse or somebody living in your home or somebody that you actually see in person, how you can look for and find other people in the community to lean on. What advice would you have for people with that stuff?
I mean, really just be involved. I think it does require a little bit of just putting yourself out there.
For sure.
Because you know, it's just this online kind of amorphous community that you don't, you know, you kind of know of people, but you don't actually know them. So to be able to put yourself out there, I think is a big first step to do that. And Tina's a lot better at it than I am, because she's a little bit more involved with the Instagram account than I am. So, I mean, if you're like talking with somebody on the PinaFit SP account, 99% of the time it's her. But then, you know, we're scrolling through Facebook, we're looking at that too. And then we're trying to like people's posts and comment here and there. But I think, you know, people have a hard time putting themselves out there because, you know, it's scary sometimes. So there's a whole bunch of people who have kind of open arms that are saying, hey, yeah, like we're going to accept you and we're going to support you, whatever you want to do. So.
Yeah, and I think, you know, what we tried to recreate as much as you can, like on a virtual platform, is just the types of interactions that would happen inside of a regular gym. I owned a CrossFit gym for 3 years, and I've been to many, and it is really cool. And it's like, well, what do people talk about in their CrossFit gyms? It's like, well, when they're warming up, they're talking about what they did last weekend or where they're going or the football game or what their kids have, or the leap that their kid is going through, whatever. So you see all of that. And we try to actually encourage it, because if it's just only fitness, which people have asked us to please make the Facebook group about only fitness, I totally get it. But you're not going to make the same kind of connections. You're not going to find people who are have kids the same age as yours, or who are going through the same thing, or people who might be able to support you. But I have seen someone who is, or many people who have been looking for that accountability, just straight up say, hey, this is my name. This is who I am. I need somebody to help me. Does anybody want to be like an accountability person with me? And you can find somebody, like if that's what you need and you really don't have anybody in your life, you can find somebody by doing that. Have you guys made friends that you actually see in person through street parking?
Yeah. So, I mean, we went to the Fitness Freedom meetup last year. And so there are a lot of times we'll just call out somebody by their Instagram handle rather than their name.
We all do that.
Yeah. We're like, hey, you. And then we'll just say their Instagram handle. And it's like, what was your name again? Because it's not on the Instagram page. And then we're like, oh yeah, like nice to finally meet you in person. Like, because we've been talking so much.
You know what happens to me a lot is I sometimes don't know if I've met somebody in person or not yet. Because I've interacted with some of our members so much on Facebook or Instagram. Sometimes I'll be like, shoot, have I met this person already? Like, I can't remember, blah, blah, blah. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I know Tina has told me a couple times that she feels really close with a couple different members. And she's like, but we've never met them. But I feel like I know so much about their lives and they share with me and I share with them. And so, yeah, like you can have a community even though you're not physically right in front of each other.
Well, it's hard as... again, as anyone who's busy, but as parents with young kids, to have time for friends or to find friends who have the same values and stuff that you do.
Yep.
Especially, I feel like it's harder and harder to find people who value like the lifestyle that, you know, the healthy lifestyle and the habits, and they're trying to do better and maybe not drink as much or maybe eat at home and not go out all the time or, you know, work out at 9 p.m. You can kind of feel like a weirdo sometimes in social circles. And so just finding this group of people where not everybody has found the same level of consistency. Some people are super duper fit in our community, like it's crazy. And some people are just starting out. Maybe they have never exercised in their life, but everybody is going the same direction, at least trying. Yeah. And I think that's so... for me, it's refreshing on social media. If we didn't have street parking, I would not be on social media at all, probably, because there's so much garbage.
Yeah.
But if you can just like avoid that and, you know, just follow the hashtag street parking and follow, it's like a breath of fresh air. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially when you see the TikTok, the Pina Fit SP TikTok dances come up. So you guys said that you're moving overseas. Where are you headed?
Yeah, we're planning to go to Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've been there actually.
Oh, really?
It's very crowded.
Okay, that's what we've heard. We've never been. But yeah, so
what's taking you there?
Yeah, our long-term goal for our family was always to be missionaries and do missionary work. So I work part-time right now as a pastoral assistant, like pastor at my church. But the long-term goal was always to do something where we could, basically we're just sharing about Jesus and we're coming alongside different churches that are there and then to help them kind of establish the church and then kind of talk and share about Jesus to other people. So
when are you guys headed there?
We don't know exactly yet, but it's probably going to be either the end of this year or early next year. And
do you know how long you'll be there for?
So the first term is going to be 3 years, but it's kind of like this has been our long-term goal. So it's most likely going to be indefinitely.
Wow. It's beautiful there. It is very crowded. The traffic is nuts.
We've heard the traffic is really bad.
It's the most crazy traffic I've ever experienced in my life. And I've been to a lot of places. But that's really cool. I love the food there is awesome. And I love what they do there. There's a lot of like restaurants in Brazil that like you can just get like meat and rice and veggies, but it's all very, I hate to say buffet because when you're an American and you think of a buffet, you think of like not the best, but there's a lot of restaurants that serve buffet style and it's very clean, good foods. So I really enjoyed that. That's really cool. Do you know what kind of place you'll be living in? Because it's very condensed.
Yeah, no, we're not sure just yet. We don't know the living situations.
Definitely not going to have a basement.
Yeah, definitely not have a basement. But we do want to continue on with street parking and be able to do something like that. And even we might have a chance to use street parking in ministry to reach other like men and women who want to be kind of fitness minded, but then also be able to share about Jesus at the same time with that.
That's so cool. You don't speak Portuguese, do you?
Nope, no Portuguese. So we're starting to learn a little bit, but that first year that we're there is going to be completely dedicated to language learning. So.
Wow, that's really cool. Is Tina going to be doing some of it too, or just you?
No, she's going to be 100%. Yeah, everything's going to be.
What a cool experience.
Yeah, so the kids are all coming. They're probably going to be in an international school where they're probably going to learn English, Portuguese, and then maybe even a third language potentially.
Yes.
But our whole family is going to be down there.
How exciting. One of my favorite things about the street parking community and even the program, I guess, and it's not something that we necessarily like, I mean, there are many things that we didn't think would be through because we didn't even picture us still doing this 7 years later, is that you can do something like that. You can completely, like Maryland to Sao Paulo, Brazil, like it doesn't get much different than that.
Yeah.
But nothing needs to really change as far as like, your interaction with the community. As long as you've got a pair of dumbbells, even if you're in like a smaller apartment or whatever kind of place you guys end up living, you don't have to like go find a new gym and how far is it and what's the situation and what's the schedule. And not that there's anything wrong with that, because I do think when you move, a gym is a great place to meet people because again, you can find like-minded people for sure. But I just like that you're not uprooting yourself from a community, which can be tough.
Yeah, which I mean, like that's what we were talking about before. The beauty of street parking is that we have this online community that we're still able to connect with. Plus, with fitness, we're just able to kind of pick back up. We're gonna get some dumbbells down there and just do whatever.
Right, and then you'll figure it out as you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe where you end up living will have a gym, there, or there's one super close, or I don't know. There's lots. I mean, it's actually a pretty. At least the experience that I had when I was there is that people do value fitness. I mean, they're very. I feel like Brazilians take a lot of pride in the way they look. Yeah. At least the fitness community. I was around people who I was there for fitness, so maybe I got a little bit of a different side of it. That's really cool. Wow. Okay, so later this year.
Yeah, probably the end, maybe December of 23 or January 24, something like around there.
I can't wait to watch that. Yeah. Maybe we'll have to come visit you.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the things that I liked that you said when we were asking, because we always send out these questions before people come, is like, what do you want people to know about your fitness journey? And you said, I'm just like a normal guy.
Yep.
Just a normal. And I love that because that most people are that. Like, they don't have this crazy background. They don't have like necessarily this amazing weight loss journey that they've been on. You've said that you have lost some weight, but it's not like this huge transformation or anything like that. And I feel like in the fitness industry, regular people kind of get forgotten a little bit, like their stories. Like it's either the amazing athlete or the person who's, really overweight and trying to lose weight or has already successfully done that.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's kind of this huge group of people in the middle that are just like, well, I'm just a normal guy. Yeah. But it's super impressive to me because normal people, like, you're just doing it to better your own lives and to be a better dad and to be a better pastor and to be a better husband and all of that. When you found CrossFit and then as you've continued to street parking, like what motivates you then? Because it's not like you had a ton of weight to lose or you have this amazing background in sports.
Yeah, so at least for me, I think when I started CrossFit, I was like, I might have been a little overweight, but just, looking at the scale, I was like, oh, I could drop a little bit of weight. So just trying to become more fit, just healthier, have a healthier lifestyle. And then once I saw myself losing the weight, I was like, okay, like this is something that I can do, like a challenge that I put upon myself that I'm able to complete. And then I saw people lifting heavier weights and I was like, okay, well, I want to do that now. So then the goal kind of shifted to becoming like, okay, I want to be stronger. I want to get a little bit bigger. So just kind of even setting myself some personal goals to say like, hey, this is like what I want to do in this season. And then again, having Tina just kind of come beside me and say, yeah, like you can do it. And I'm here to support whatever it is that you want to do. So
has doing street parking together changed your guys' relationship at all?
I wouldn't say it has changed it. I think it's definitely something to have somebody, I guess, suffer with you, like alongside with you, and for it to be like your spouse or partner. But like when we're struggling through a workout together, encouraging one another, I mean, I think that kind of helps us like bond with each other. So I don't know if it necessarily changes anything per se, but it is a definite bonus to have each other there to kind of just push one another.
Yeah, it's interesting. Julian and I have this interesting dynamic because we have this look that we give each other where it's like, I'm dying. Like I've definitely probably gave him that look earlier today, but it's comforting when he's there versus if I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Or even just after the workout today, him telling me good job. Like, I mean, there's something to that it's almost, it's to have somebody that you care about so much participate in that with you.
Yeah, our kind of go-to is once we're done, and we're off the floor and kind of recovering, we'll just give each other a high five and then just be like, nice job.
Do you ever fitness bully each other? Who's the fitness bully?
I would probably say that Tina is the fitness bully.
Like, will she ever tell you should go heavier, or you
Definitely. There was the workout the other day that you guys did the double double dumbbell snatches,
instead of the kettlebell swings.
Yeah,
yes.
the double dumbbell swings. And Tina was like, Miranda did 25s. You could do like 35s or 40s. And I was like, I don't think so. Like, I think I'm going to try 30s. And even 30s were really hard for me. And I was like, I'm pretty sure Miranda did extra challenge on that too.
Yeah.
And Tina's like, oh, yeah, no, you still could have done it. I was like, I don't think so. So, yeah, sometimes, I mean, she does push me sometimes a little too much, and I have to like, put the brakes on and be like, okay, this is way too much weight. But, and she does know my limitations too, so.
It's such a funny dynamic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only person that Julian doesn't fitness bully. He never fitness bullies me. He fitness bullies everyone else, which to me shows love, because he's like, no, I'm going to let her do her thing.
Yeah.
And I'm the only person that he will allow to bully him.
Oh.
So I'll be like, you should go heavier. And he actually listens to me, or you should do this, or you should do that. And he'll actually listen, and he won't listen to anyone else.
Yeah.
So that's really fun.
I think, well, at least for that, I mean, I think that's like a level of respect, right? He knows what your limitations are, and he knows that that you're putting in the right amount of weight or whatever it is. And then when you tell him the same thing, like, hey, you should go a little bit heavier, it's like she knows her stuff, like she knows what so
yeah, that's really cool. What was I going to ask you? You did 2 consecutive years of endurance. Did you go through the 52-week endurance program twice?
No, so we started before the 52-week came out.
When it was okay.
Yeah, when it was still, I think, on Waterfly.
It was just like a weekly. Yeah.
So started, I think, December of 2020, and then Tina was like, "Hey, let's do this endurance thing together." Okay. So we started doing it together. It was just once a week. We just kept doing it, and then, like I said, my friend Fred, he started Zooming with us. And then it was kind of that Sunday evening routine. Kids go down, then we just hop on Zoom, and then we just.
Were you doing it on the bike, on a treadmill? Like what version?
So we have a bike and a rower in our basement.
Okay.
And so Tina and I used to alternate. We would do 1 week, I would be on the bike, she would be on the rower. The following week we would switch. And then I think after a while, I forget why we decided not to switch anymore. It might have been like my back was bothering me or something, and she was like, okay, just use the bike. So my go-to lately has been the bike.
Okay.
But yeah, so we did 2 years, or I did 2 years straight of once a week of the weekly endurance. So that was kind of like a big thing. I got my 52-week badge, and I was like, oh, should I keep going? Should I stop? And I ended up keeping going for a little bit. So I think it ended up being like 104 or 105 weeks.
Wow. So you did get the badge.
Yeah. And then so I was like, oh, maybe I should switch things up a little bit now and try something different. So
you mentioned that most days you have planned to do a strength and then the daily workout. And you said about 50% of the time that doesn't happen because of life, kids, whatever.
Yeah.
What are your go-to strength programs? Like, how do you structure that?
Right now, the strength programs that I'm really enjoying, I'm doing the 20 rep squat.
Okay.
I'm doing 5-3-1 for bench and for shoulder press.
Great.
And then the Olympic Ali Imam.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the 4 that I'm doing throughout the week. And then I try to just plan around, like the vaults, I can't do anything before a vault workout.
Right. So your vault is like I'm going to go full send on this workout. Okay.
Yeah. And then depending on, like, if the bench, it's like week 4 of the 5-3-1 bench, it's like I'm going to try to push a little harder on a daily workout after that.
It's like
it's like the deload week. Yeah. So 20 rep squat. In the beginning, I was doing a daily workout after that, and then as it's getting heavier, I was like, can't do anything after that.
No.
Yeah.
That's really cool. How long have you been trying to do more of the strength stuff?
I think it was the beginning of this year that I started.
Okay.
So January, February. I think literally this past Saturday, I just got my SP Barbell Club badge.
Ooh, nice. So, did you get the shirt yet?
Not yet.
I will have to get that for you while you're here. So was that like, okay, I'm not doing endurance anymore, now I'm going to focus on strength? Or did that switch kind of happen at the same time? Was that on purpose?
Yeah, it was kind of around the same time, just thinking like, okay, I've done endurance for so long, like let's try to switch gears a little bit. Kind of like the same thing with the goals that I was talking about earlier. Right. It's like I wanted to try to see this endurance thing through to kind of be as a challenge to myself and for Tina as well. Like we were like, let's try to get 1 year of endurance. And then the year passed and we're like, okay, let's go for 2 years of endurance. And then Tina had gotten pregnant again during 2021, so she couldn't do endurance with us for a while. So for me, I did the 2 years, and then I was like, okay, like let's try to switch things up a little bit and see if there's different goals that I want to do. And then now it is to get stronger, like to get a little bit bigger. So
that's cool. And I think one of the reasons that we don't program multiple parts into the workouts like you would normally see in a class is to allow people to choose what they want to focus on. And so many people would love it if we just told them which accessories to do every single day. And I totally get that. But like also maybe you're feeling endurance, or maybe you're feeling the sandbag extra program, or maybe you want to just do bro set, you know what I mean? And so part of it is giving you guys like the freedom to be like, hey, this year I'm going to focus on this. Where if we decided that for you, then that's not as empowering, I guess.
Yeah. So, if for one day I want to do like bench, and then one day I want to do something else. Yeah. I think that gives it the flexibility, and that's really great about like your guys' programming. It's like you can do these things, or you can just focus on a daily and just go full send on that. So
how did it's because you had one kid since you've been doing street parking. The other one was born during the pandemic, but you weren't a street parking member yet.
Yep.
When Tina has the baby, because I think this is a good question for dads, there's like a lot of talk obviously on the groups and things like that with the moms of like postpartum recovery and all of that. But I don't feel like maybe there's enough talk about the dad's schedule and what happens there, because you have 2 other kids.
Right.
And at least at our house, what happens, what happened when we had crew is like Julian was in charge of the 2 older kids almost entirely, for bedtime and breakfast and all of that stuff for a while. Did your schedule have to change at all, or did your workouts take a hit at all when the 3rd baby was born?
Yeah, I think the workouts were affected a little bit, but we were kind of at that point, we were kind of in a routine. We're trying to, again, plan out what we were going to be doing. And obviously, that always doesn't work out just like how you plan it. But we tried to plan as best as we could. And I don't think our workouts really were affected too much, but just you
stayed consistent even when she wasn't able to train for a little bit.
Yeah, so I tried to do my best to just be consistent too, and then also being aware that whatever Tina needed to do, like I needed her to give her that time too. So even now, like during the week, because she's a stay-at-home mom, so she's with the kids most of the time, I'll try to give her some time to herself so that she can go out or do something that she wants to do, because she's like the primary caretaker. So I was trying to think through that when she had just given birth too. It's like, what does she need to get back to where she wants to be, or what are her goals? What does she want to do? And how can I help her be that support system for her too? So
what a good dad and husband. That's awesome. What's your guys' eating situation like?
We try to be pretty close to template. We were doing template for a while. So we eat pretty healthily for the most part when we're at home. But then we also my parents live really close, so we go to their house about once a week. Tina's mom is close. We go to her house. We sleep over at her house once a week. So,
that's fun.
Yeah, so it's fun, but then also they will just order whatever food that they want to order.
What kind of food do they get into?
So it's like pizza, fried chicken, like barbecue, like all the good stuff that tastes good, but is not necessarily the most healthy for you. So we try to keep that in mind when we're planning out our week. So we'll try to do like a rice.
It's coming.
Yeah, we know it's coming. So we'll do like rice, protein, vegetable. We'll try to do that for the most part when we're at home. But then again, that doesn't always happen as we plan it either. So sometimes life just gets too busy and we'll just have to order something real quick. But we try to be healthy for our kids' sake too. So we give them what we eat.
Yes.
And so that they're not always just thinking, okay, like I can just have like chicken nuggets or I can have French fries.
Yes.
So we try to give them what we're eating so that they're used to just eating what mom and dad eat.
You guys are both Korean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys get we've gotten super into the kimchi that DH makes lately. Do you guys get into that?
Yeah, so Tina's mom makes her own kimchi.
Oof.
And so, we get a lot of that sometimes. But that's an awesome, for us, it's a great side dish because it's so versatile. It works with everything.
You can put it on anything. We put it on tacos. We put it on eggs. We put it on. I mean, it's so good.
Yeah.
I think DH has posted his kimchi recipe a few times on it. I don't think we've made it a street parking recipe yet, have we? I can't remember if we have, but if not, it's coming. I encourage anybody who's never tried it before, because I know a lot of people are like, that sounds really gross. It's like fermented. You just like leave it on your counter. I would highly encourage you to try it at least once, and it adds so much flavor.
Yeah,
and
it's really good.
Just throw it on anything. That's really cool. And you mentioned also you guys have been getting into like this Vietnamese coffee phase.
Yeah, so we
Tell me
drink a
about
lot
that.
of coffee, and it was just random. My dad knows a Vietnamese guy who owns his own restaurant and was giving him some of the Vietnamese coffee. So we bought the little filter things to make our own Vietnamese coffee. So
what makes it Vietnamese? Like, is it just because the beans are from there, or what?
I think so. It's like a specific Vietnamese brand, and then the style of how they do the coffee. It goes through this certain filter. It's called a fin, I think.
Okay.
And so the way that it goes through, it just makes it a
Does it
Vietnamese
taste
coffee.
a lot different than regular coffee?
It's really strong.
Oof.
Yeah.
You know, that's another cool thing. In Brazil, though, I had a hard time finding, like, if you're watching the video version of this, I always have like I have this massive cold brew with me. And it's like my emotional support coffee. I always have a coffee that I just sip all day long. Well, they don't really do that there. It's like these tiny little espresso shots. And I'm like, no, but I just need something to carry around with me so I can sip it. It's more of like the flavor than the caffeine even. And they're like, I mean, we can make an we could pour some water in it. And they were so disappointed in me.
That's like me too, actually. So we have the Vietnamese coffee that we'll drink in the morning, and then we'll put a scoop of like vanilla protein powder. That'll be our caffeine and protein intake in the morning. But I'm like 100% cold brew.
Yes.
All year.
Yes,
like,
during the daytime. I don't care how cold it is.
Cold, warm, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Like I'm just drinking cold brew. And I put it in like one of those Yeti mugs or Yeti cups, and then I just sip it all day.
Yeah, it's more of it's not even a caffeine thing. It's just a comfort. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's probably something I should look into and make sure that I can go without it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so excited for you guys to move down there, and I'm excited to see what the Brazilian culture will bring to your dancing and and your fitness also. The other piece of advice that you gave in the email when we were talking back and forth is just leaning into consistency, leaning into more than nothing, and patience.
Yeah. I was saying how, like, when I was younger, I would try to find like these quick fixes. Like if I was a little overweight, it's like, okay, well, I just not need to eat as much, and then just like think about nutrition and be like, okay, well, I'm just going to cut out all these things and almost like starve myself, but not to that extreme.
Right.
But it's just like, what can be a quick fix to just get me to my goal? And obviously with fitness and health, you don't want to do those kind of things. You need to think long-term. So one of the things that I was saying was really trust the process, because you might not see that, like whatever goal it is you're trying to get to, you might not see it right away. You might not see it in days or weeks. It might take months. It might take even years to get to it, but really trust the process, be patient with it, because as long as you're consistent, you're doing more than nothing. I think those things that you guys are really communicating to the community, as long as you're in those things, you'll get to your goals, but it might just take longer than you're hoping, but you'll get there.
As a pastor, do you see parallels between fitness and like worship? Or I think that I'm not a super religious person, but I think that one of the highest forms of, I guess, worship might be the wrong word, is like taking care of your body.
Yeah.
In a healthy way, not in like I'm obsessed with myself way, because that's the opposite maybe.
Yeah.
But taking and honoring your body. So what are some of the parallels or things that you like that you've picked up from fitness that you can bring into being a pastor, or vice versa?
No, I mean, the Bible does say stuff about making sure you take care of your body in a physical sense, but then also how much more important it is to take care of your body in a spiritual sense. So I think the slogans like more than nothing, consistency is key. I think those things also parallel in the spiritual life as well. At least for me, in my daily walk with the Lord, I'm trying to think through how consistent am I with Bible reading? How consistent am I with praying? And I think when you develop those consistent habits, it becomes like second nature. You don't need to think about doing it. Because for us with working out, we're not even really thinking about it anymore. We're just going to do it. And that takes 15, 20 minutes. And for reading the Bible and praying, it takes about that same amount of time. But a lot of times for people, it might seem harder to get into that and to do that. But I think if you're consistent with it, and I think if you do more than nothing and give yourself that grace to say, okay, like I just need to read a chapter or something, or pray a little bit. If you do that consistently, it'll become second nature, kind of like just brushing your teeth. You don't even think about it. You just do it because that's what you've been doing. So
I would say in a lot of like religious circles too, it seems, regardless of what the religion is, it seems that there is the same thing that happens in fitness where it's, well, so-and-so does this much, or I have to compare myself, or if I'm not doing as much as this person, then I'm not doing good enough, or almost, people can get into showing off, and it's like this like competition for who does the most and who's the most righteous, or whatever word you want to use.
Right.
And I think that one of our goals within street parking and the fitness side of it is when we got rid of the leaderboard and we encourage people to make it just about your journey and are you doing the best that you can, and stop comparing yourself to anyone else. And like you're saying, be patient. So I think there can be like a lot of parallels to both of those things.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see your workout. It's going to be great.
Yep.
And we got to meet you at Fitness Freedom, but we're so glad to see you guys again. Yeah. And especially, are you guys coming to any of the other meetups this year before you head out?
I don't know if we're going to be able to. We're going to try to.
Okay. Because once you're in Brazil, it's going to be hard to, that's
Very
a long
hard,
travel.
Yep.
So maybe we might have to come to you if you're there for a while. But we're super excited to watch that journey and just to continue to get to know you and Tina, because you guys have such a good energy about you.
Thank you.
That I would encourage you, if you are somebody who's looking for that little piece of motivation that you're missing from the in-person gyms, follow them because they post a lot. They're very active on social. And when you see them being goofy and not taking themselves so seriously and just getting it done, it'll be like, all right, fine, I can go do my workout. They're down there in their basement and I can do it too. So Thank you for being that to the community.
No, thank you so much for having us.
Of course. Awesome. That's it. See you.
All right.